Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I see him as a liability and not a partner? Sorry for the long post. It's 2 a.m. and I'm crying and tired and worn out. If I'm rambling, it's because I've held this in for so long, not wanting to burden friends or family with my marital troubles. I, 34 female, have been with my husband, 37 male, we'll call him Nathan, for 8 years. Ever since our daughter, 3 female, was born, I have been unable to trust Nathan with anything, no matter how small. Background context. When I was 19, a semi-truck driver fell asleep at the wheel and turned my car into scrap metal with me inside of it. I have enough metal holding me together that I light up like a Christmas tree for TSA, and I'm physically impaired with good days and bad days. I used a portion of my settlement check to buy a house outright and have it retrofitted to accommodate my needs, as I'll eventually require a wheelchair. I work in software development as it's fun, and nobody cares if I work from bed on bad days. My husband has not worked in 5 years, which has been fine until our daughter was born. Between the settlement money, a paid-off house, and my salary, I enjoyed having him here with me. He contributed by handling most of the domestics. We pay for a weekly cleaner with monthly deep cleaning because it gave us more time together. Ever since our daughter was born, it was like a light switch turned off in his head. For our daughter, he would buy the wrong size diapers, not fully mixed bottles, put diapers on backwards, leave out poop-covered wipes, forget to latch cabinets. This past week, he has gone to the store 3 times because he keeps coming home with the wrong size socks and shoes for her. I eventually just ordered the right ones on Amazon. For me, he has tried to help me with my weekly pill organizer fill-up and several times has spilled the contents of new medications all over the floor. Then, not seeing that he didn't get all of them off the floor. He has repeatedly brought me grapefruit juice to take my medications with, a huge no. He has repeatedly forgotten that I can't have dairy and puts milk in my coffee or cheese on a burger. He has broken so many things of mine from being careless. He shattered my laptop because it slipped out of his hand when he tried to pack it for a trip, even after I said I would pack my own electronics.
I'm getting pissed off.
We've lost so many spoons and forks to the disposal. He tried to replace the head gasket in my car and over-torqued the engine bolt, which shattered inside the block, and 2 different shops said they couldn't even repair it. We ended up getting a new vehicle because a replacement engine would have cost $11,000. A week later, he crashed the new car into the garage door because he thought he'd press the brakes, not the accelerator.
What?
He wanted to do TikToks and streaming as a hobby. I supported him initially, but I quickly noticed a pattern. Anything regarding our daughter or me, he was sloppy and careless. He never whoopsied his own stuff. He would build entire sets to stream or make videos with, leave the garage, and leave his brain in the garage.
Fucking clearly.
It came to a head 4 nights ago. He streamed himself building a new set piece, 9 hours straight. Meanwhile, I worked, clocked out early to pick up our daughter from summer camp, cooked and fed both of us, and got her ready for bed. He came out to help me put her to bed. I let him know that I needed to get some work done and would be in my office, and I asked him to take the trash out. He said that he will. 2 hours later, I left my office, and the house felt really warm. He'd taken the trash out, but left our front door partially open, and was back in the garage with his game volume really loud. I panicked, since our daughter is able to get out of bed, but luckily she was sound asleep. But she could have easily toddled right out of the house, and he wouldn't have noticed. Then I noticed a stove burner was on, with a small pot on it with nothing inside. I didn't use the stove for cooking that night. I popped my head in the garage and said, quote, "Hey, I need you for a minute." I informed him of the door situation, and he responds, quote, "I thought I locked it." We checked the camera, and no, he did not. I asked about the burner being on, and he said he was planning to make ramen and forgot.
What the fuck?
He pulled the still hot pot off the burner and put it straight into the sink on top of our daughter's favorite plastic plate, which is now ruined.
I cannot stand him.
I'll admit I overreacted and screamed, quote, "What are you doing?" He realized what he'd done and pulls the pot off of our daughter's plate and straight onto the countertop. I quickly grab it and run it underwater to cool it down.
Did she say that she overreacted? Honey, no. I would have overreacted so many issues ago.
I tell him I can't tonight. I can't deal with him. I'm taking my meds and going to sleep. He gets a cup from the cupboard and sets it straight onto the burner that had been on. I hit my limit. I started crying. He kept saying that it was fine. Things happen. It's just an accident. He's had a rough day from streaming. He's just tired. Why am I crying? It's just a cup. We can replace it. The anger hit.
She can replace it. You clearly can't.
The anger hit. Not just OP, but Lauren too. And I said, quote, it's because I have a liability and not a partner. He said, quote, what the fuck does that mean? I screamed that it's because I can't trust him to do anything, that I'm always having to watch him like a child, always having to bear the costs of his mistakes, that every time I get careless and think I can trust him to be an adult, I'm always the one getting fucked over. I then said, quote, I can't see you as a partner anymore. You're just another liability in my checkbook. He immediately stormed out of the kitchen and went to bed. I called my mom and told her what happened. She thinks it's just stress and offered to take our daughter for a week so we could figure this out without our daughter seeing it. She says it was an asshole thing to call my husband a liability. In the morning, I told my husband that my mom would pick up our daughter from summer camp and offered to watch her for a week. He said, okay. And that's the only interaction we've had since. He spends all day in the garage playing games with his friends, making TikToks, and streaming. For food, he's been ordering DoorDash and having the person deliver it to the garage. It's been days, and he refuses to be in the same room as me. I've tried messaging him to ask him if we can talk or figure out a solution, but he's just left me on red. If I pop into the garage, he ignores me, but apologizes to his friends or viewers for the interruption and unmutes his mic when the noise stops. Before the blow up, I've asked if there was something going on. I've tried to gently respond every time he screwed up so our daughter didn't associate mistake to anger. I asked him to schedule with a doctor to see if something was going wrong medically. He always said I was overreacting. People make mistakes, and didn't see an issue, even when the same mistakes kept happening. When I tried to get him to understand that it was concerning just how expensive his mistakes were getting, he'd wave it off as a, quote, it's not like we can't afford it. I love him dearly. I just miss the person he was before we had a child, the one I could trust and rely on. Did I screw this up forever? Was I being too harsh on his mistakes? Am I missing something? Am I the asshole?
Absolutely not. If you guys couldn't tell how I feel about that.
We have an update. I didn't know this existed, and I'm really scared. It is super long.
Oh, shit.
My husband and I have been together going on 9 years, married for 5, and we have 1 child. Big issues really have come to a head in the last 6 months as we were renovating our home and were offered a place to stay with my in-laws during the process. The moment we moved in, it was clear that my father-in-law was not thrilled to have me there. I work from home and my child is not in daycare. So if my husband had to work during the day, I would be left at his parents' house to work and watch our toddler. The kicker is that my father-in-law made it clear I was not to work in the dining room or on the covered porch outside or on the back deck or the spare room on the main floor. The only acceptable place was our bedroom upstairs, which is hard to accommodate when also caring for an energetic toddler. My father-in-law is retired and home all day, but no childcare assistance was ever offered. We moved in and offered to do the grocery shopping and pay, as well as cook meals for all of us, to which I was told, quote, we don't need to coordinate and do meals together, which I found difficult working full-time and then sharing a kitchen. I even found somewhere else to do our laundry, so I wasn't using their machine. After about 2 weeks into our stay, my sister-in-law, married to my significant other's brother, came to me, letting me know our father-in-law has been complaining about me and showed me text messages he sent to her, complaining that, quote, he's always circling around a daughter-in-law in his house, as well as thanking her for, quote, getting me out of his house on days where I would pack up and work at her place. This is in addition to tolerating his behavior of slamming every door and cupboard in the house all day long and being passive-aggressive to me during the day while I work and take care of the toddler. At this point, I tried to make myself scarce. I would get done with work, pack up my kid, and get takeout to have a picnic at the park and stay as long as we could until it was close enough to my kid's bedtime. Once my baby was asleep, I would stay upstairs in our room as to not intrude on my in-laws' time in the main living area. So most of my day was spent in our bedroom, working and staying out of the way. It got to the point where my father-in-law would barely even acknowledge my existence. I would come home and say hello to him, and he would only say hello to my kid or my husband, but never me. I finally decided we were going to do whatever we could to afford a rental for a few months. We moved out of my in-laws, and upon leaving, I thanked him for having us and giving us a place to stay, to which he started laughing and nothing else. So I just walked out. We ended up staying with my sister-in-law for a few nights before our rental was ready, and my father-in-law texted her, quote, good luck, in reference to us us spending a couple of nights. Once we were out, my father-in-law and mother-in-law started telling my husband's siblings that, quote, I'm keeping my husband and child from them because I don't like his dad, while not taking any accountability for how I'd been treated. It's also important to note I told my husband he can see them whenever he likes, but he never wanted to see them due to everything mentioned above. I've been no contact with them for over 4 months now, and I'm wondering how long this can last. I've asked my husband to stick up for me and call them out, but he says it won't change their behavior and will just make things worse. I'm fine being no contact, and I know they will continue to talk about me and make me out to be the bad guy. But what do I tell my son as he gets older and I'm not around when they come over? Do I suck it up and continue seeing them and pretend nothing happened? My family lives over 400 miles away, so I don't have much support there. My ideal outcome would be advice on whether I should confront them on their behavior towards me or if I should just ignore it. And if you think it's realistic, if I can go no contact while still making space for my husband and son to have a relationship with them if they want it. In the past, I know that my father-in-law and mother-in-law and husband's sister used to make fun of me behind my back that I would touch and rub on my pregnant belly too much while I was pregnant. My mother-in-law would call me a mean girl for not always inviting my sister-in-law to hang out, commenting on having dark circles under my eyes, making fun of me for being vegan. The list goes on and on.
I think the answer is easy. They have taken the choice to alienate you. My answer is your husband recognizes this, and if he finds it acceptable and he wants to have that relationship with them, go for it. But you don't have to put yourself in the middle of this stuff and try to go appease them and play their game. It's dumb. And I'm sorry that they're assholes, because that's clearly what it is. They're not giving you any respect at all. And the fact that you actually said that, hey, we moved out of there. I was waiting just to say, get out of there as fast as you can.
Yeah, and they did that. They got out.
You do not push yourself down their throat. You don't have to appease anything. You can go literally that they don't exist. It's your child. It's your life. It's your home.
I am mainly looking for advice. My boyfriend and I have been seeing each other for well over a year, and he lives on our college campus with his brother and another roommate. At the end of the summer, the other roommate is moving out, and this girl, we'll call her Kate, is moving in. I forgot how him and his brother met Kate, but they picked her so they wouldn't have to find a random person to move in. I'm not bothered by the fact that she is a girl. I am, because I have lived with a guy before, although that guy is my best friend and also gay. Oh, that's valid. The issue I have with her moving in is her Twitter account and her OnlyFans. Ma'am, please. Why would you be okay with an OnlyFans model moving in with your boyfriend? That's like waiting for trouble to happen. To start, she says and posts some of the most foul and vulgar things on Twitter, more perverted than my most sexually liberated female friends. On the topic of moving in with my boyfriend and his brother, she acknowledged that they are both in relationships but compared herself to Jess from New Girl, a character who eventually gets with one of her male roommates. Second is her OnlyFans, which his whole friend group knows about and talks about. One of his friends was hooking up with Kate and helped her out with filming her OnlyFans, and his friend group still talk about it to this day, and I know the other girlfriend what is going on? One of his friends was hooking up with Kate and helped her out filming with her OnlyFans, and his friend group still talks about it to this day, and I know the other girlfriends of the guy friends are uncomfortable with it too. It's not that I don't trust my boyfriend, but I get bad vibes from Kate. Okay, it's not about trust at this point. You're putting him in a very, very tough... Not you. I'm so sorry. Not you. He's putting himself in a very bad situation. You can say trust all you want, but when the doors are closed, a little alcohol is in the mix, whatever it is, and she's an OnlyFans model, you're asking for him to cheat on you at this point. I'm sorry. Don't hate me for this opinion. I feel like most of you guys would agree. If it was, regular girl, OnlyFans model is the exception. You don't get to move in with them. Not when their whole career in life is about My boyfriend's apartment is actually disgusting. I would never pay money to live there, and I can't imagine any woman wanting to share one bathroom with two grown men. Doesn't even go to our university or work anywhere close by, so why would she want to live there? Which leads me to suspect that she has alternative motives moving in. I was trying to give her slack like, hey, she's doing OnlyFans to get herself through school. She ain't even a student. Why isn't she living with other OnlyFans people? Why aren't they like all in a hub and like diddly-daddling together? Why does she have to be with two taken men? I also think, don't hate me on this, but some women, not all, but some women really do enjoy taking things that they can't have. For example, they're both taken. So she's going to make it a point to be like, you know what? I can't have this. Now I want it even more. And I would hate for that to happen to you. When you see the car crash happening a mile away and you're just going to get hurt. You're going to be collateral. Bad idea. I should add that my boyfriend and his brother are both very attractive. I was going to hope that you're going to say they're very ugly. So you're safe then. But if they're both very attractive, like, what did you... I feel like they low-key want this to happen too. I try my best to be pro-woman and pro-sex work, but I'm so uncomfortable with the situation. She already signed a lease, so there's... She already signed... It's over. She already signed the lease. What are you asking about? She already signed a lease, so there's nothing that could happen now. He made me feel like I was overreacting, but I just know if the roles were reversed and I was living with the man who said sexual things on the internet and made literal porn, he would have a problem with it. Any advice on boundaries I should set or other concerns I should address would be appreciated.